Hello everyone, today we are going to be talking about things no longer seen at Walt Disney World. We are live from the Bob Varley studio here in Orlando, Florida, and this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode number 794 for the week of March 31st, 2015. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Well, hello again, and welcome everybody to the Diz Unplugged. We are live from the Bob Varley studio here in Orlando, Florida. I am your host, Dustin West, and I'm joined at the table by my good friends, Mr. John Magi.
Well, hello, everybody.
Oh, my.
I thought we had to
ever do that again.
I thought we had to do a Dustin voice. Well,
Oh, the game show?
Okay.
I thought we had to do our
Hi,
game
you
show.
have to pick a Wicked Wango card. Hi, guys.
Kevin's here. This is Kevin Close.
So freaking
Teresa
wrong.
Eccles.
Don't do that again. I'm trying to mess with Dustin with the eye contact
Yeah.
and freaking him out. And you shoot. Okay, go on.
Kathy Whirling's also here.
Hi, guys.
Man,
Of the
and
bunch.
back in the production nook, we have Ryan Clavin and Craig Williams. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hello, everybody.
Did you get a haircut since the last?
No,
Oh, you look different.
no.
Well, this started off great. John just threw a whole wrench in the operation.
I thought we were doing our game show voice.
Are we?
Is that it?
Host. That's what he
Oh, you
does.
just got your show canceled. That was just wrong. Your game show was canceled.
I will say, I never ever once expected to hear that kind of voice come out of John. That's wild. Okay, so anyway, back on topic. We have a pretty neat show for you guys, especially for you guys that are hardcore Disney fans, which I assume is a lot of you that are listening and watching live. Recently on the Diz boards, we've had a very, very popular thread come up on our theme parks and attractions forums, and that is a thread, and it'll be in our show notes page, called Things No Longer Seen at Walt Disney World. And it is a thread where people are posting a lot of pictures of extinct attractions, different areas from the parks, little theming elements, characters, animatronics, all that kind of stuff. And so I thought, since that's doing so well, maybe we could talk about it too. And I've asked some of the folks that follow us on the Diz Unplugged Facebook page to let us know what their favorite extinct attractions or things that are no longer at Walt Disney World are. So we'll be bringing that into the mix, and then we'll kind of talk with you guys and reminisce. It's just a chance for us to kind of geek out and have fun and talk about things that are no longer at Walt Disney World. I've actually put together a timeline. I have it right here in front of me.
I knew you would.
Yeah. And I've used a bunch of different resources, and I'll tell you those in a minute. Put together a timeline of, it's mostly the attractions and like restaurants, the big things, the big notable things that are no longer with us at Walt Disney World. So we'll kind of hop around there. One of the resources that I used, and if you are interested in looking at this kind of stuff, again, look at this thread, and there's a lot of pictures and stuff there. But I went onto a site called Yesterland, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners and viewers are familiar with Yesterland, and that helped me kind of get into the spirit. But another one that I used was, and I'll put a link in the show notes page for both of these. Another one I used is Extinct Attractions. Or Extinct Disney World, and that helped me really plot out my timeline because they had information about the attraction and then when it closed. So I was able to kind of put this together, and there's a lot of things that are no longer at Walt Disney World. So we've got a lot to talk about. I just wanted to start out with you guys. What are some of the things that when you guys think about
I like
this?
how you started with Kathy and I went, oh, no, I'm not.
Nothing we're going to talk about can start with an F.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh my. Okay.
Because she's vulgar. No, because she likes Figment. just when I first sent you guys this email and let you know that we were doing this, what's the first things that come to your mind? What are some of the things that
There are
you
things
miss?
I remember from being a kid. I used to love those little fruit juices that were in containers that were shaped like the fruit
Yeah.
juice they were in. I thought those were cool. I liked the fact that there used to be a magic shop on Main Street and each store sold something different. And if you wanted something from Frontierland, you had to go to Frontierland to get
Yeah.
it. I miss those kind of things. I liked if you had wings. Tell me when you want me to stop. I miss the old white Tomorrowland. I don't mean that in.
I thought you didn't see color.
The old stark painted white Tomorrowland with the big fountains outside.
Yeah.
I miss America the Beautiful.
Well, the rest of us can just go home.
Well, one of the things you touched on, the fruit juice that was in containers shaped like the fruit. I don't actually have a Disney memory of that. Oddly enough, when I was a kid going to Busch Gardens Williamsburg, they had that there too. So I have this weird crossover thing where my memories of going to theme parks as a kid at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, they had the exact same thing. I miss that.
People are talking in chat about missing 20,000 Leagues, and other people are saying they've never done it. I've done it. You waited outside for hours to get in, and you got in a hot, sweaty sub, and when you put your face up against the window, because it was air conditioned inside, your breath fogged up the window, and you spent the entire time trying to wipe the window off, and you would get out and you were wet, and you would think, I'm never doing this again.
Well, it's funny. One of the things that you mentioned in putting together my timeline. What do you guys know? What the very first attraction to close at Walt Disney World was? And you mentioned it.
Attraction to close. If you had wings,
No, it was the Circle Vision 360 America the Beautiful closed,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and that closed in 1974. So they had a good solid 3 years before they decided we got
My
to change some
favorite
things up.
attraction ever in Walt Disney World is in Japan. Mm-hmm. Ever. It was my favorite one ever
Oh,
when I
I
was
know.
a kid. It was the Mickey Mouse Review. And it's in Japan, and they won't give it back.
Yeah, I never saw that, but everything I've seen from it, it's interesting. It's almost, to me, I never experienced, but it almost looks a little creepy to me with the little animatronics that.
It's very simplistic. It was, they rose up out of the floor, but it was like every character you could imagine was in this. When I was a kid, it was that and It's a Small World were my favorites.
How about you, Teresa? I know you haven't been going to Disney World as long as maybe Kevin has, but you've been
I'm
coming
not
here
that old, no.
for quite a while. What's gone away that you miss?
Okay, something has gone away, but it went away before I was around, and I think I know I miss it because I would like it that way. Not so much an attraction, but the people that would go to the parks with their. This is so weird. Kevin's gonna understand. People in white gloves and hats and suits, and how they used to dress, and how they used to be, and how they used to act. I want that time back.
okay, the parks weren't open in the 20s.
No, I'm not talking
No.
about. You know what I mean,
You
Kevin.
look at the opening of Disneyland. and they have
Yes,
on high
I want
heels and white
that.
clothes.
I want.
John, I watched the
those
movie
people. Mm-hmm.
Julie and Julia, and John always says to me every time I start it, you can't go to Paris in the 50s. Get over it.
Well, that's what I miss, and also I think the one I would really like, and it was gone long before I got here, were the sky bucket thingies.
Yeah, the Tomorrowland, the Skyway to Tomorrowland,
yeah.
Skyway to
Oh, look, a picture
Fantasyland.
came out. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There
Those
it
things
is.
are terrifying.
I did it at
Like those.
where were we? SeaWorld in San Diego still has something like that.
Oh really?
And I
The white
thought,
gloves?
no, I would be there in a heartbeat if I had the white gloves. I miss things like that, the original. But no, just give me back some decent people with manners and dressed nicely. And
So the Skyway closed in
And the pricing. I miss the
1999,
pricing,
apparently. Just looking at this.
when did it go away?
1999, the Skyway.
Wow. Okay,
closed.
my first trip to
I get the feeling it closed before that. I don't think it disappeared until
Oh,
then.
okay.
my first trip
I
to
remember
Disney
that not
World
working.
was Stella was a baby, so 2003, 2002 was my first time here. So I missed a lot.
You did.
Depressed.
How about you, Kathy?
Let's
No,
look at her list.
no. He's still there.
Okay, the lights of winter. And
So she has a
Figment.
shrine in a back bedroom to this at her house. I know she does.
It doesn't overwhelm my life, but I do miss them. The original version of Figment is so much better than what they have now, but I'm glad we have Figment. And when we were out in California, somebody said, "Oh, what's with that purple dragon on your phone case?" And I had to educate a cast member.
They don't have Figment out there?
No.
Figment special to Epcot.
Yeah.
And Kathy.
Yeah. Well, there's other people from reading the
Yeah, but all
YouTube.
three of you should get together.
And some of my other ones are Push the Trash Can.
Yeah.
That to me said Disney.
He went away pretty recently.
Yeah, it
Only a
is.
couple years ago.
And Tapestry of Nations, the parade through Epcot. I thought,
I hated that.
why did you hate it?
It took up all the space.
Okay.
You couldn't get, and it
Yeah.
had those big creepy puppet
It
people.
was Traffic Jam of Nations
Yeah,
is what it was.
Yeah.
the problem
It was.
is
Travesty of nations.
Travis, the problem is Epcot is not designed for parade
Right.
in
No.
any way, because you have the only full circle that you have is World Showcase, and when
Right.
you block off the entire street for World Showcase, you block off all
yeah.
of World
Oh, it was
Showcase.
such a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
And Timekeeper was creepy.
When did that go away? I missed that too.
Don't you remember they had those big, it was like,
It was only supposed to be here for the millennium, but it was
Yeah.
like 2 years after that.
and it was like cast members had big
They're
sticks
giant
and
puppets.
and they were like 8 foot or 16 foot tall puppets, and
Sounds majestic.
they were less than $1,000.
Sorry, I missed it.
It was, it was cool. It was just the wrong
Teresa?
place for it. And the music was very,
Was it moving?
yes, very inspiring.
I
Teresa.
enjoyed the parade.
No? Okay.
Kevin disagrees. How about you, John?
I'm not one of these folks who are like this.
Have emotion. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say, oh no, this is gone and I miss it and now it's terrible. I want it to come back. The only thing that I could think of when I think of this, and we've talked about this several times, is that apple cobbler that they used to
The
have.
apple cobbler at the Sleepy Hollow.
I miss
Is it-
food.
I
Don't tell
remember
people you're a
that.
cold shell.
Really.
Is that came in a little bowl with a little folded up?
Yes, and
That
if you
was
walked
good.
towards the Haunted Mansion, all you smelled was that apple
It's where
cobbler.
they sell the waffle
Yeah.
things
Okay.
now. You can get Nutella and bananas and stuff, but it used to be so good and so delicious.
I'm
But
sorry.
I'm not one of these people who think, okay, what ride or attraction do I miss or that they have to bring back? It's just not.
You like the new and ever changing.
I do like the fact that
Or you
it's
just
ever
don't care.
changing.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that it's ever changing. Even if it's not changing for the better, and sometimes I think it's great that they're always working on
I
it.
felt bad when they took down the security
I know
thing
you
in
did.
front of Fort Wilderness.
You like they changed the font on a sign, and Kevin's
I
like,
did. I
"They
hate
changed these
font
people."
on the Fort Wilderness. And I was like, no, put it back.
Well, then you have to ride the monorail because I don't know if you saw, I posted pictures. No, you wouldn't have seen it on Facebook, but on the monorails now, they're replacing the carpeting behind the seats, and they're all little Disney
I
logos.
see pictures
Wow.
of it. Yeah.
And
Does
everybody
it still
said,
smell like Band-Aids?
no, it smelled pretty good, but everybody said that you would like it because they used the classic D.
I collect that. I
You collect font?
No, I collect things that have the old classic D on them. You had a book that had it on it. It's the
Yeah.
square D with the Mickey head in the middle.
The
globe.
original Walt
Yeah.
Disney World
I
logo.
think there's a name for it. I just don't know what it is. But when I was growing up, that was when I first started going. That's what it was.
It makes you feel good.
and they've started using that quite a bit more nowadays.
Retro-y.
Yeah. How about you guys? What do you think? What's something you miss at Walt Disney World?
I don't know. I tried to think about this, and I came here all the time as a kid, and I think all of my favorite things are still here. I was gonna say Captain EO, but they
Now
brought
it's
it
back.
back, and now it's going away again. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it was a 5-year. I got it for an extra 5 years. I never had it for, so I got to see it as an adult. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I don't know.
Please explain the fascination with Captain EO. What is that?
For me, it was when I was a kid. I always really liked the 3D shows a lot, so I thought that was the coolest part. And then as I got older and I started to like Michael Jackson's music and stuff, then when they brought it back, I also, it's George Lucas, it's Francis Ford Coppola, right?
Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
That's the stupid
Yeah.
thing next
Francis-
to Figment, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow, way to write off his passion.
I was glad I got to see it because when it first came out, Captain EO first came out, we weren't coming to Disney.
Yeah.
So when it came, it's, like old school.
You also
But-
have to. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Just that it was old school. I got to see it. It was Michael Jackson that you looked at it and you went, what a terrible waste.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was so talented, and I'm sure Disney would have used him in other things had he lived.
Yeah, it's him at his prime. So it's a nice little time capsule. That's what I love the making of it too in the beginning, because it makes me laugh, but it's also like, man, I can't imagine what it was like day one of that. And people were like, wow, how fashionable everybody is. Like,
That's the point I was going to make. I mean, now it's kind of, you use the word retro. When that came out, that was kind of the biggest thing on earth.
Same thing with your Mickey Mouse review thing. You talk about at the time, it was so cool, and look at what they're doing. It's so cutting edge. But that's what I think is great about Disney. They're always willing to do something advanced
There
to
was
that.
nothing bigger than Captain EO at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the lines were incredible.
Can you imagine that nowadays?
Well, that's what it is. It's like, when they use that tired expression when something jumps the shark when it's been around too long.
Yeah.
But that's not negating what it was at the time it opened.
Exactly.
So Captain EO's going away because of the Tomorrowland movie. Now, when the Tomorrowland movie opens and that space is available again, should they put Captain EO in, or Honey, I Shrunk the Audience?
I don't think I think it should just stick to Captain EO again, because I think that still, I don't know. I was going to say, I feel like that had more relevance? That's not
relevance.
But I don't know, because when we were in California, they have a Captain EO theater there too, and I think it just transitions from one movie to another movie to another movie, so it's just called that theater, and they'll never reopen it.
How about you, Craig? Craig hates everything. Craig doesn't miss anything.
Well, no, I mean, I'm going for the
Stereo
press
sound.
conference. I'm an important person.
It's very Darth Vader when they took his mask off.
It's very Barack Obama to me, but no, I
don't even know what you're
just turn this one off.
Okay.
So I'm actually, after listening to all this, I've kind of transitioned into a little bit of a mixture between John and Teresa. I mean, there are little things I miss, like Alien Encounter.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could have saw that as an adult and probably respected it a little more than I did as a kid, because as a kid I was just terrified by it for the most part. But the number one thing, manners in the park and the guests. I mean, I wish every day could be Dapper Day without necessarily even needing the dressing up. Just everyone walking around being polite to each other and please and thank yous. And
Every day needs to be Dapper Day. What a shirt, huh?
yeah, don't steal my lines. Thank you.
Sorry.
And then I go back and forth. If you look back at my history on this show, I'm probably the most flippity floppity person there is. But today I'm feeling what John said. I don't necessarily miss one thing. I miss the memories of whenever I had good times there, but I don't necessarily miss the things. So
If you think about something like Alien Encounter, it was cool. It was fun. It was a nice show. It moved on to something else. Some people don't like the new thing, but eventually it'll be something else. Captain EO will be something else. If it stays the same,
When's Utopia going to be something else?
But some things should never
Utopia.
change.
see, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's
Small
true.
World should just go away and turn into some
Take a look at
freak show? What?
Take a
No.
look at Small World. Out
Those are
in
our
California.
options. Small World or Freak Show?
Which is like, what was the guy who's doing Freak Show, the show?
Ryan
Ryan
Murphy.
Murphy's version of Small World. Small World Freak Show.
Take a look
Jessica
at
Lange's in
It's a
every
Small
country.
World out at California.
Which I love.
They made slight changes to that, and I think that was a either or of who liked it and who didn't like
I'm
those
okay with
changes to it.
slight changes, but don't just rip it out. Something I'm all about the certain things you're not going to touch. You're not going to touch Haunted Mansion. You're not going to touch Small World.
Figment.
However, Haunted Mansion, every time you ride it, there's something new or something different.
But they
They're
haven't leveled it and turned it into a mid-century modern
But it
house.
also hasn't been a museum.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's what I
Tweak it, I'm
don't want
okay
people
with.
to do. I don't want
Just
people saying,
don't.
because if it's always the same, who would go back?
Marty Christina in chat has pointed out that Marty Sklar said it's not a museum.
Yep.
I was stealing his line, but thanks for seeing it.
I did hear that.
Here's one of them that went away that I didn't know of, and maybe Kevin, you might know about this. In 1984, the Astuter Computer Review in Epcot closed. Did you ever hear of that?
That was in Communicore.
I was gonna say that's gonna be in one of those innovation places. That
No, Communicore was cool. You could design your own roller coaster. If you pedaled a bike, you could make a light bulb go on. This was cutting edge at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, computers took up whole rooms. When Communicore first opened, these were the high tech. But yeah, I remember that. And there was a robot out front. I can't remember his name.
The little purple guy, right?
Oh, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, it was like the name of a computer company.
Chatterati will know. You just know it.
Chatterati, tell me what his name was. There was a computer out in front of this review he's talking about.
Yeah.
Wasn't there he walked around.
No, this guy was...
Okay, well, there was one that something
there
walked
wasn't.
around outside.
No, you're wrong.
It was around.
No,
You're wrong.
It was around. It was around 1994 that.
SMRT1. Thank you.
Oh.
But he was associated with a certain commuter.
Smarties. Right.
Well, yeah, if you spell it out.
It was like he was an IBM robot or something.
It was around 1994 that Communicore did its name change to Innovations. I'm just seeing on here. We have a picture that I got from a book. It's the characters in front of Spaceship Earth. If you have that one, and we'll try to put this on the show notes. I never experienced Epcot like this, but it's the characters wearing rainbow starship outfits.
It is.
Oh my gosh!
Fits into
I have
Captain
I
EO real
missed
well.
that.
I have a funny story to tell you about this.
Okay.
My mother was a very smart woman. This was before she was in a wheelchair, and we were walking around, and my brother and I are both very tall. And anytime we handed my mother a camera, she became a lunatic. And as she tried to position us with Donald Duck in his little spaceship uniform in between us, she said to my brother and I, reach under his arms and pick him up so he's the same height as you. Now she has her back to us, and I don't know if you can see this underneath, but Donald Duck wasn't saying a word because they can't talk, but he kept doing that. Yeah, they used to walk around like that all the time. Minnie used to come out in a kimono in Japan as a geisha. So they used to come out dressed as character. It was a little racist.
Yeah, I don't think they do that nowadays.
No. But yeah, they used to do that all the time. But in Future World, the characters all had on those little Epcot
Little
Center
rainbow outfits.
Now, when we were out in California, I was just amazed at watching the characters just roaming around, like at the hotels. And my one memory is Minnie was standing there and nobody had come up to Minnie. So Minnie was checking out what was on the sofa there. And it's like, I've never seen a character do something other than...
She lost?
That's
or
something
she
I
had no
love.
handler or nothing?
No,
Something I
they
love
don't
about
have
Disneyland
handlers.
is for some reason they allow their characters to go without.
They just are
an
allowed to go
escort.
walkabout.
And at one point we were in the Disneyland Hotel, I think, and we ran into Goofy all by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kevin and I spent time with Goofy.
That kind of...
He's talking minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't
spent
take him
some
out for
time
lunch or anything.
Picked him up by the armpits.
And I think
by the armpits.
at one point Walt Disney World was like that. You know.
Oh yeah, the characters
What
used
happened? I missed that. Put that on my list.
to. Oh yeah, out in front of City Hall. City Hall. What's across the way? Not City Hall. The
Tony's?
yeah, next to Tony's. What's that building called?
Where Lincoln is. The
Well,
great
that's in
one was-
Disneyland.
Oh.
Yeah,
Exhibition Hall.
Exhibition
Yeah.
Hall. They used to have characters out in front of that. The one I remember being out there all the time was the characters from the Jungle Book.
Right.
But yeah, you would just run into characters standing on the street.
I think it's people were not nice to the characters, so they had to have people cast members there to make sure they were being treated properly.
And just like anything else that Disney World seems to do over time is they got more organized. They got we're creating a line.
Unionized.
We're creating a cast member role to be their handler, and
We've also
organize the
talked a
line.
lot about manners. Things were different in the 70s and 80s, and I don't mean to sound like the old man in the sea. But when a character was out, people were respectful. And respectful of each other. As someone in chat pointed out, people happened. That's why we don't do this anymore.
Oh my God, this is so freaking sad.
It is.
Okay, I have a question though.
Sure.
Tell me if this really used to happen or if I just saw this on the internet because everything on the internet is real. When the Toy Story characters would come out, if they would say Andy was coming,
No.
they'd all fall to the ground. That never really happened, did it?
It happened it was once, and it became a big thing. Everybody
Yeah.
was like, they can't do it because you're not technically supposed to be on the ground in your
No, that's
So it
Your
never
outfits.
really
You get-
happened one time.
You get dirty shorts. Yeah.
Somebody would roll over you with a stroller.
Really? trying to get to Captain EO.
Because I thought that was a cute thing. But
My thing about change, because everybody knows I have certain things, I don't mind that Disney changes things. I would just hope that they think about it before they do it. Because, sometimes Disney makes some decisions that maybe aren't the best decision, and then due to public outcry, they go back and change it.
Yeah.
When you close an attraction, you're sort of stuck. You can't say, okay, we're going to reopen it again. So I just hope that,
you think they've had much thought and contemplation over this stuff? They don't just
I'm just
wake
saying
up
that,
on a Tuesday.
No one
and say,
runs down Main Street with a crowbar.
no, what I'm saying is that, like they might have they've got this new hot idea for something, and it's like, okay, now where can we plug this in? And because one of the attractions that I never got to go on was Horizons, that everybody really, really liked.
Oh, Kathy. It's so much nostalgia.
Yeah, it's high.
Okay. See, I've
But
never.
again, of the time, where else could you go and ride a ride like Horizons? There was nothing like it in the world.
Especially one where you could pick your own ending.
Right, and it was a ride mechanism you never saw anywhere. It was just at the time it was so cool, and again, it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they brought it back now, you would say, "What's a big deal?"
I was like, Horizons lives in it's like a cloud of memory because I was pretty young. It closed in 1999 to make way for Test
You were a
Track.
baby.
Well, I wasn't a baby in 1999.
You were young, though.
I was young.
There were things that Epcot opening, the Universe of Transportation. You used to get in that little car and you would go up that rampway outside of the building.
Oh, the World of Motion?
The World of Motion.
Yeah. Universe of
I like that.
Transportation.
I rode that once.
You are remembering rides that weren't even there.
I got the right. The
It's
name was
mine.
wrong. But the Universe of Motion. What was it?
World of Motion.
I loved that. But, I thought that was
gone.
better than
I
Test
said
Track.
Test
yeah.
Track earlier. I'm just realizing Horizons closed for Mission Space.
Okay.
One of the other things I'm noticing, the year I was born, in case you want to know how old I was, Teresa, in 1986,
Good Lord.
quite a few things changed on Main Street. I think the Hallmark card shop in Magic Kingdom closed. The Biscuit Barrel shop closed in the that's in the United Kingdom. Sorry, the New Century Clock shop closed, and Merlin's Magic shop closed.
They were all on Main Street.
Yeah.
I remember when there was a magic shop inside the castle, and you could go in there and buy stuff. I happened to buy a Peter.
That was
Lorre
before
mask because it
Bibbidi
was on sale.
Bobbidi Boutique was there, right?
Yes,
80s
Yeah.
were a rough time of change.
Yes, they were.
I liked I loved the fact that when you went to the Tomorrowland souvenir shop.
Mickey Star Traders or something like
Yes,
that.
but it was all sort of space age related stuff.
Yeah.
You couldn't find that stuff anywhere else in the park. And I think that's the thing I missed the most.
I agree about that. The fact that you can get stuff that was specific merchandise for a
Right.
certain area of the shop or the parks.
And now in some ways, they hone it in. So, like at the end of Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, you're going to find a whole bunch of Toy Story toys. And at the end of Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor, you're going to find a bunch of Mike Wazowski dolls and
But
stuff
that's
like that.
fine. But then that shouldn't be in Frontierland.
Right.
You should not be able to find Monsters Inc. stuff by the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Exactly. And they have, and we've seen in the last few years, they have at least gotten slightly better with,
Especially the resorts.
They need to
Resorts.
get rid of the tag Disney Parks.
Oh my
No
god.
one wants Disney Parks merchandise. I'm speaking for everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kevin. When I was at Disneyland, I got this shirt that's Disneyland.
How
but
many
it was
times are
one
you
of
going
the.
to show us that shirt?
the-
I love
oh,
it.
I showed you when we weren't recording.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But it was one of the only. The only Disneyland specific thing I could find on the vacation. Everything had Disney parks. Like if you looked at the tag, it would say
Yeah.
Disneyland and then Magic Disney World underneath of it. I thought that was kind of.
That's like my Disneyland umbrella that I had to buy when I was out there one time by myself.
And did it say Disney World on it as well?
No, it says Disneyland, and I love it. And you told me not to use it, right? I was using it one time when Craig's like, "Where are you using
Yeah, that
it?"
was
it
Food and
good?
Wine.
Yeah.
Was it like a parasol or was it?
No,
an
it's
actual
just
thing?
it's a really cute umbrella, and you're never going to see it again. So don't let the water touch it.
I tell people who book ABDs with me all the time, if you see something when you're away, buy it.
Yeah.
You're not going to regret buying it. you are going to regret not buying it.
Right.
I know I bought a purse in Florence one time I've never used.
I think I told Rhino that when we were out in Disneyland, that if he saw something that he wanted, to buy it.
Yeah.
It might go away just like the rest of
Yeah.
these, and you might
Sometimes
never.
it's just fun to sit back and watch what happens in the room.
I shouldn't have taken the second pill, I don't think. Okay, go ahead.
We spent way too much time on your umbrella. I also just wanted to throw it out there. We have some pictures up here. We're going to put the links to this thread and these other sites in the show notes page. If you want to see these attractions, you can check those out. A lot of the pictures have pictures of people's families in them and stuff like that. I wasn't necessarily comfortable throwing that up on the show and stuff like that. So
What was some of the stuff from Facebook? Do you know what the...
yeah. So first and foremost, Judy Garvin says, "I really miss the lights of winter." Kathy's my favorite person in the world.
Oh my God, sweet.
She didn't actually say that.
She's related to Kathy.
The Swan Boats,
Later to say
the Lights of Winter again, and Journey into Imagination, says Carla Sitzer. Everybody's
that?
appealing to Kathy.
The Swan
Right.
boats?
Did you pay these people?
No.
Wow, there's a lot of Lights of Winter in here. That's because you were active on this comment on
No,
Facebook.
they said it first, and I'm like, oh, wow. They're saying it before I did.
I miss Figaro fries too.
Figaro fries at Pinocchio's
Oh, yeah,
Village
yeah.
House. Susie Campbell says Mickey and Minnie's houses, and that was at
Toontown.
Toontown.
at Mickey's
Yeah.
Toontown Fair. Now, originally, that was Mickey's birthday land. That didn't open with the park, I don't think, but it did close in 1990. And then Mickey's Toontown Fair closed recently to make room for Storybook Circus in like 2011, 2012. But before then, that's where you could see Mickey Mouse. I guess a lot of people like
his
doing that.
house.
Instead, now you got to go find him on Main Street, right down at Town Square.
Yeah, he's at Town Square, the Magician Mickey. It was actually really cool back in the early '90s for people of our generation, because I believe it went from Birthday Land into Mickey's Starland.
Yes.
Yes, Mickey's Starland.
And that's whenever they had all the Disney afternoon characters back there. So
I remember there was a
Duck
show-
would be back there, and Gummy Bears.
That's
and,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a show that I remember seeing around 1993 or 94 called Disney Afternoon
Yep.
Show, and they had the Goof Troop and DuckTales and Chippendale Rescue
cool.
Rangers.
I love the Goof
They were all on
Troop.
stage trying to like solve some sort of
I
mystery.
mean, those cartoons are going to make a comeback here.
Well, they're
Sounds great.
With the
redoing
new
DuckTales.
Yeah, it's about time to bring it back.
I was into other
Darkwing.
things. And then
It's like Goofy and his son,
I know, it was a
His son
heartwarming
Max.
tale.
I
It
love
was
that movie
Max.
too.
I love-
One at a time.
I had that on VHS. It was such a good movie.
Well, shortly after Mickey's Birthday Land closed, this one
It was the prime mortgage scandal.
it was.
Adjustable rates went up on Mickey and Minnie's house. They had to foreclose. Moved to an apartment over Main Street.
Okay.
What? Is that not what happened?
Foreclosure, poor Mickey.
Yeah, they had to make
Mickey's
way.
house went as a short
Short sale, yeah.
Dumbo
Credits
moved
ruined.
in.
Slumlord Dumbo.
Okay. When I was doing my research last night, one of the things I didn't even know, and I thought I was pretty well versed in this stuff, before Voyage of the Little Mermaid was at the current theater it's at in Disney Hollywood Studios, they had a show called Here Come the Muppets. Did you?
remember that.
Oh, really?
Apparently, I think it was either characters in costume or a puppet show. That before there was.
win, but I remember it.
Yeah, there was Muppet Vision. Before there was Muppet Vision 3D, the movie that they have now, they had
Muppets were over there.
Here Come the Muppets.
Do you all remember when there was actual stars in MGM? They had a star of the day.
No.
No.
Like,
yeah.
like how big a star are we talking here?
I went one time to see Susan Sarandon, and it was usually involved with them promoting a movie, and they would have a cavalcade down, and the star would ride down whatever that street is called.
See, that's what I'm
Hollywood
talking
Boulevard.
about.
Hollywood
Why don't
Boulevard.
Did they do the
stuff like
concrete?
They would do the
that?
thing in front of and they came out and they told us we couldn't talk to Susan Sarandon. Don't talk to her. You can't make eye contact. Well, you know who talked to her. They stopped her car and she talked to me. And, but yeah, they used to have some like fairly famous people there, and it wasn't like they announced this in the newspaper. But as you went
Just a
in, it was
day.
in front of the. Julie Andrews has done it. So I mean, they've had some really. They used to have really kind of famous people show up.
Sad.
See, I had no clue that they did that. I thought that was just in the promotional material. I
I
thought
used
that
to
was
go to a bunch of them.
wow. That's cool.
Most of the time, it was you just sort of tripped over somebody. It was like you walked in and, oh, look who's going to be here. I made special point to go see Susan Sarandon.
There's so many of these things that I've never heard of. Oh my gosh. One of the ones I do remember that closed in 1994, and then the one after it closed to make way for Soarin' was Kitchen Cabaret.
And Food Rocks.
And then Food Rocks.
Those were fun.
Oh, I saw a video of those. Those are kind of fun.
Yeah, that's before my time.
Kitchen Cabaret was one of my favorites. Yeah, it was an animatronic show.
It was
the
along
refrigerator door opened.
Along the same lines as your Mickey Mouse review.
Much smaller scale. It was a cute little.
If you do the Backstage Magic, not the Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic, but the Backstage Magic at Disney World, it's the full day tour. They take you into the audio animatronic lab, and you can see the original host of Kitchen Cabaret. Her name was Bonnie Appetit.
They keep her back there, just waiting for her time to come out again, or what?
I think it's actually use it as a study for new Imagineers to see what the animatronics are like.
When I was working at Mission Space, they had some of their training facilities were at the then closed Wonders of Life Pavilion.
Okay.
And a person who I will not name their name or their position said, "Hey, come check this out." And I saw the lifeless animatronic of, I forget what the kid's name was, from Buzzy, from Cranium Command.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of bizarre. It reminded me of when I was a kid and we went to Chuck E. Cheese and we saw the animatronics behind the curtain and they weren't moving, and it really freaked me out and gave me nightmares.
No, that one was, I got to see it too, since I worked at Test Track.
Yeah.
It's got no names, but they left the door unlocked all the time, so any guest, if they were in there for Flower Garden, could accidentally just walk right in. And it is so creepy in there because all the lights are off except the back lights through the eyes. So then you can just see a lifeless Buzzy, and apparently he no longer has his jacket, bomber jacket that he used to wear because someone kind of found a way to climb up and get it. But
man.
Grace got
there's a lot of those weird things.
things.
That was not me. I promise that was not me.
Grace got a new
But
jacket.
no, there's weird stuff like that all around. You never know what's actually still in place at Disney World.
Exactly. Well, Wonders of Life specifically, it didn't have an official closing date. It just kind of withered away, and there are probably still things in there like the guts of Body Wars, the guts of Wonders of Life, even though they make it up for the the festivals that they do.
We never went to that pavilion.
Even when it was in full bloom?
Right. Even when it was new, it was that and Horizons were just snore fests as far as we were concerned.
You didn't want to see The Making of Me?
No.
I thought that was a cute movie, and I can remember Cranium Command, right after we moved down here, they opened it up for like the Christmas season, and a bunch of Dreams agents had come. And I went with a bunch of Dreams agents, and we
Snuck
went
in the
to
back.
No, they were doing Cranium Command for the holiday season, and I got to see it again. That was cool.
Oh, cool.
It was so good though with
What
Hans and
about
Franz.
Hans and Franz.
Do you remember when you went into the land pavilion, as you walked halfway down the spiral loop, there was a movie called Symbiosis?
Symbiosis, right. And that's where that's where the Lion King movie is now, the Circle of Life in the Land.
It was my father's
like
favorite
that
thing. We had to go see Symbiosis.
How long was it, and what did they...
Give us the brief summary and description.
I've seen it probably 10 times and slept through it or did something stupid. It was all about how the interaction with the earth, how we're all live symbiotic.
Okay.
But that was back when they had live narrators on each boat.
Oh, okay.
Who told you the story
Yeah.
as you went through.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait,
forgot about
that can't be gone too long then, because I kind of. When did that happen?
No, he's referring to two different attractions.
I know, but he's talking about the movie where the Simba thing is, right?
That's still there.
That's still there. I
The
know.
movie's still there.
But
it's not Symbiosis.
But I remember
anymore.
riding those little boats in there
Symbiosis.
and having
No, this
there's
was
not
before
people on there
Simba.
talking anymore, right? Or are there?
No,
When you're going
No,
through
it's
the
pre-recorded now.
Yeah.
It's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the in 1998 and 1999 respectively, two of my favorite attractions closed at Hollywood, or then MGM Studios. I'll see what you guys think. Superstar Television and Monster Sound Show closed within a year of each other. What did you guys think of those shows?
The sound one, where you went and sat in the booth and Drew Carey talked to you?
Well, no, before that it was Martin Short.
Oh, I never saw that.
I
one.
went when MGM first opened, and there were attractions all on the back lot. There was a whole movie. Bette Midler had just come in out with a movie called Big Business, and there was a whole movie about her like swinging from one building to the other on a banner.
Oh my!
And then when you went in the back, they did the whole thing.
You actually walk through the prop shop. You can see all the big props and stuff.
Where if you go just around the corner where the Voyage of the Little Mermaid is, the building across the thing is a Disney kids TV show now. It was the Bear in the Big Blue House for a while. When MGM first opened, that was the lobby of the Plaza Hotel, and Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin characters would walk around it because it was a big scene from Big Business.
Yeah, they would use that as to stage their popular movies.
The movie on the backlot tour was called The Lottery. It was like filmed specifically for Hollywood
And
Studios.
they were in it.
It was Bette Midler, and Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
But there was also, as you went back, there was that battleship where they spritzed you with water.
The water
and stuff
tank,
like that.
yeah.
That had, all of that stuff had movie star driven preambles to it. You saw them on TV.
Yeah, and then they went to Michael Bay, and that was just
that was the end.
the world's greatest cinema genius, Michael Bay. I know we just skipped over the Superstar Television and Monster Sound Show, but while we're talking about the backlot tour, that was originally much bigger. It was incorporated, if I'm not wrong, it was incorporated with the animation attraction. You loaded into the animation building. They actually had trams where you entered the trams at the animation building, and then you would also, there was a part of a walking tour where you saw the Mickey Mouse show set there. You saw at one point there was a 101 Dalmatians set up for that Glenn Close
I don't remember
movie.
doing that in the animation thing. I thought in my mind, I remember them as being two separate things. You loaded for the backlot tour or walked through the backlot. There was walking in a tram thing, but that was back further. But that's foggy. I can't really remember.
It wasn't incorporated into the animation attraction. That's just where you loaded into the trams.
Okay, I do remember that was the cue. Okay,
Yeah.
I do.
The archway used to be the entrance.
Yeah.
To animation.
Going back to the Superstar Television, where you could be in a show, you could be in Cheers or I Love Lucy or on the Tonight Show.
Right.
I remember that. I liked that.
I like that.
I thought that you were talking about the one where they told you how they used a Foley soundstage and
Yeah, I liked Superstar Television a little bit better because they also had Gilligan's Island.
Oh, yeah. I was the millionaire, the dashing,
Oh, really?
the dashing
cool.
8-year-old
Were you?
millionaire.
Speaking of Millionaire, Play It. You guys remember that?
That's another
yeah,
one of Kathy's
yeah.
favorites.
You missed that, Kathy?
No, I did see that one.
So you'd prefer that it be gone?
they had that on the cruise ship too. Only they called it "Who Wants to Be a Mouseketeer."
I just remember people being very excited that they won pins and stuff at Millionaire.
Those pins are coveted.
For those who don't know, at one point they had pretty much a full setup of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where
Toy
what is
Story.
it? Is okay where Toy Story is now, where Toy Story Mania is.
So
now.
we used to go to that a lot.
Yeah, I knew quite a few people who worked there, and then they canned it. Not to get sad. Also, a part of that was Residential Street on the backlot
yeah.
tour.
The
You
Golden
guys remember
Girls.
There was a spin-off of the Golden Girls too, and I can't remember.
Golden Palace.
No, there was
Empty
another
Empty
Nest.
Nest.
Empty Nest about the
Yes.
doctor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Harry.
there too.
Yeah. And that's where the Osborne Lights used to be. Because
Yeah.
I can
Yes.
remember when we did it the one year, and it was like everybody just sort of like marched through.
And it was like a death march.
Yes, and I thought, if somebody falls down or somebody yells fire, there's going to be a lot of things happen bad here because there was no room.
It was like a clogged artery.
Yeah,
You just
it
couldn't
was.
move.
Yeah.
The saddest thing about Hollywood Studios right now is after just being out at Universal Studios Hollywood and seeing an actual working studio with the same type of purpose that MGM was supposed to be way back when, it could still be so great. Because, I mean, that whole format works out there, and it works really well.
I don't think there's any.
Well, they decided
Yeah,
they
like
were going to make
Universal.
Hollywood East, and it was going to be Universal Studios
Yeah.
and MGM, and they were going to have live production.
Exactly. And it
You
just-
used to be able to get tickets to whatever was live. I went to MGM and saw they did Wheel of Fortune there for a while.
Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this. I mean, I'm sure some people do. But behind the animation building that you see in the park, where you can take the lessons and there's artists there. There's an actual other building behind it that's a gigantic Disney feature animation building back there that's no longer used for that. It's used for like manager office buildings and stuff.
Henson Studios was back there for a long time.
Yeah, it was a fully functional. It could have been a fully functional studio if they really wanted to. And I know we kind of need to wrap up here. So one of the things that I think has shown up on Facebook quite a bit, and I can't find who wrote it, but it's gone away, and it's one of my personal losses for Walt Disney World, a SpectroMagic. The parade, the nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom.
Did that just go away again?
No.
I thought they brought it back.
No, 2010 it went away, and from what we understand, it's
okay. In my lifetime of living in Florida, it was present for me. That's why
there's no plans to revive it because it's just sitting rotting somewhere.
Over on that island.
Discovery Island.
Discovery Island.
Yeah.
I remember that. I went there a couple times.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Grace is always trying to get in to get the scoop now to, get behind the scenes. Because they left, just abandoned it. Like, one day they said, okay, we're not going to
There's
be
a great
here
story in 1976. They used to do they would release the doves.
The dogs?
The doves.
story.
Oh, doves.
For the bicentennial. Well, the Eagles in Florida got smart.
Oh, no.
They realized that at a certain time when there was a certain fireworks bang,
Yeah.
that they would release the doves. Well, the Eagles would line up on Discovery Island, and overhead while they were releasing them in the Magic Kingdom, the Eagles would pick them off.
They used to do that at the
that
castle
true?
show, too. Because I can remember when I first moved here in 2003 or 4, they used to have the doves go out at the end of when they shoot the fireworks off. And they got rid of them for the same thing. It was,
Can you imagine
eagle.
the logistics of trying to shoot off doves from the castle
Yeah.
every day? That's great. Well,
You know
look,
what we need? We need cats.
Okay, well,
Disneyland's got cats.
Okay, they didn't actually shoot the doves off. They kind
dove
of
cannon.
opened the box and let them out. It wasn't like
A dove cannon.
like a
Cannon.
confetti cannon.
I missed that.
I missed the dove
Dove
cannon.
confetti.
Shooting off the doves is the wrong term.
good point. Good point. All right. Well, we haven't touched nearly half of the things that have gone away from Disney, but if there's anything that is just sticking out in y'all's mind that you want to mention before we wrap up, nope. All right. Cool. Well, again, I'm going to post the, I'm sorry, I just got the dove cannon stuck in my head. I'm going to post the links to this thread, to the different sites that we used, and maybe you guys can check those out and reminisce, be nostalgic like we've been. I apologize. We've really been geeking out. We've been all over the place, but I think it's been fun. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again next week. Goodbye.